One day, the medieval villager version of Denji from Chainsaw Man received the hero powers. If you know who Denji is, what happens next won't be a surprise for you. But if not, make sure nobody in your house is awake and move those napkins closer. A dragon with 3 heads is invading a city, scaring everybody around. Thankfully, a hero came to save them. Her name is ᴜᴜ괜 the warrior hero who used her strong arms to cut off one of the dragon's heads with a single swing of her sword. Looking at that, I can't stop wondering, what else could she swing with those strong arms of hers? Not only she can wield swords, but also can use magic, summoning an electric ball that blew another head of the dragon. Those who have been granted the special ability, hero power, by the goddess, belong to the guardian heroes and protect people from monsters and demons. Since the hero power only resides in women, all the heroes are women. Our protagonist is this horny boy named ᴤဃᴇʀyy, who is ready to delve into adulthood and grab some fat meat present on a human of type feminine chest. Right now, ᴤဃᴇʀyy is cleaning up the mess the hero created while slaughtering the dragon. Looking at ᴜᴜ괜 the boy believes all the heroes are so pretty. No wonder they are chosen by God. While daydreaming and wondering what secrets may hide under her armor, someone calls his name. This person told him to go up on a building and clean the mess that's high and hard to reach. But the boy's determination is harder when the woman offers him a reward after finishing the job. Within milliseconds and without any equipment, he jumps all the way up and cleans that instantly. Turns out ᴤဃᴜ was a perv since childhood, always being obsessed with what could be found under a human clothes. He will do anything for his desires, and because of that he got the nickname of Perv Hero. When he looked behind, ready to take his reward, nobody was there. That woman tricked him and left without letting out a sound. Even the people around expected him to learn, as this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. However, the boy's foot slipped, and now he is falling. As life flashes before his eyes, ᴤဃᴜ cannot believe he couldn't play with some soft water balloons. Before hitting the ground, however, something smells good. He is caught by ᴜᴜ괜, who looks even more beautiful up close. She is the prettiest woman he has ever seen, and as she leaves, he can't bear the thought of never seeing her again. That's why he extends his hands, and when the woman has used her super speed ability, the boy gets dragged with her to this new location. Seeing that the woman becomes angry and tries to leave since she is busy, but ᴤဃᴜ is not ready to let such a good fish get out of his hook and starts asking questions, prompting ᴜᴜ to say they are not on a date. When he finally asks the right question, asking why ᴜᴜ became a hero, the woman stops and tells him she did not become a hero because she received the power. She aspired to become a hero more than anyone else, and she trained harder than anyone else. That's why she received the power. ᴜᴜ starts mentioning the legend of the Holy Sword, the hero who pulls a sword out of a rock. That it's a story about a young man who defeats the devil demon king when he gets his holy sword. It's just a fairy tale. In reality, there are no male heroes and no holy swords. Even so, ᴜᴜ admired the hero who protected people as a child, and now she wants to protect people like that as well. She would do anything to achieve that goal. That might not have been the best word choice, because this hot-headed boy is probably thinking if she would go straight to second base with him if it meant protecting the people. Okay, the hot-headed boy is me, but I'm sure ᴤဃᴜ is thinking the same. And it looks like we are on the same page. The boy can't stop staring at her big, round, beautiful eyes. Realizing he is wasting her time, he is ready to get her size. However, that is not actually needed. He can measure that just by glancing at them. You may have thought he gave her just a regular paper, but that is not the case. She actually signed on a special paper with a promo picture the boy uses to crave his frustration at night. When ᴜᴜ called him a perv, it wasn't just his blood rushing south that ignited. It seemed the whole town caught fire. The monster she slain earlier rose from the dead and now is bigger than before. Even ᴤဃᴜ knows ᴜᴜ can't defeat the Hydra by herself. The woman starts moving towards the monster. She won't be waiting for the town to get destroyed. Using her sword doesn't seem to be as effective as last time, but she manages to keep the villagers safe. That is so until she jumps to save a little girl and ends up getting hit by the dragon's tail. ᴄဃᴇʀyô, who witnessed that, wants to do something about it but is too scared. As the monster is about to end Uriel's life, ᴄဃᴇʀyô finally moves and a mark shows on his hand, asking if he seeks power. A god has appeared in front of him, asking if he is ready to risk his life and fight as a hero or run away. He would become the male hero who appears when humanity needs help, and Perv Hero won't be just a nickname, but a title. Not sure, he wants to save Uriel, but why was he the chosen one? The god ignores him and tells ᴄဃᴇʀyô that, as a male hero, he is holding the ability to summon the Holy Sword. Hearing that he got surprised, the Holy Sword really exists, and the male hero can become reality. He finds out that the sword can be summoned. The hero must perform a special ritual that is perfect for our protagonist. He must make a female hero feel a shot of happiness through her body. The Holy Sword is the essence of a female hero, and to draw it out, you need to stimulate the roots of their soul. That is the power of a male hero, final world buster, or better said, Natorium. Even though what he has been waiting for his entire life is in front of him, ᴄဃᴇʀyô seems to have potatoes instead of a brain. A male hero has a special connection with female heroes. On short, ᴄဃᴀyô makes the woman hero happy, and ᴄဃᴀyô receives the Holy Sword. The one with happiest thinking should receive this power. Will he choose? Realizing this woman is actually speaking with him, and not only moving her collarbones from one side to another in an interval of milliseconds, displaying two appealing, bouncy, meaty balls of fat, he agrees to risk his life for the better good. Out of that dreamy world where the god spoke with him, ᴄဃᴀyô finds himself near Uriel, and the monster is about to finish them off. Thankfully, she used a barrier that saved them. However, that barrier not only prevents interference from outside, but the women within the barrier have their body sensitivity multiplied by 10. With this all set, the goddess speaks to Uriel, informing her about what is about to happen inside that barrier. Seeing the woman hesitating, he gains some confidence, suggesting he will defeat the monster if she allows him to make her feel good. And oh god, I really wish I could show you what hides under that metal armor, but I hope this photo can satisfy your hunger for the moment. The boy, gently, took out his huge sword out and moved towards the monster, slicing it with ease. Looking at him, Uriel believes he is just like the legend. Believing the ground is not wet enough, ᴄဃᴀyô jumps close to Uriel and tells her he is ready to take responsibility and penetrates the monster's body using his holy wing wave. Witnessing that, everybody, including Uriel, is amazed. With this new power, ᴄဃᴀyô can free his desires since childhood, laboring them as tools for protection. While thinking about that, his future swords called for him. They are the 6 guardian heroes. The story continues with ᴄဃᴀyô thinking about how to tell his parents that he had finally touched the Grail of Meat, which was really amazing. He's also reflecting on how he managed to summon a holy sword and defeat a monster. Now, he is with a bunch of beautiful ladies as they are all heading back to their headquarters. One of the heroes uses wind magic to make ᴄဃᴀyô fly in the air in order to keep up with them. This made him feel both uneasy and a little scared as they were heading back. The villagers all cheered, marveling at how powerful the heroes were. They were happy to see the ladies and also noticed a boy, ᴄဃᴀyô, with them. This made ᴄဃᴀyô feel flustered when he heard the villagers comment about a boy being with the heroes. On their way to the headquarters, Uriel, feeling embarrassed, asked Rosemary, the leader of the heroes, to put her down. However, Rosemary told Uriel she couldn't because she was seriously injured and also needed rest. ᴄဃᴀyô was truly surprised to see Rosemary, the renowned leader, in person. While thinking about Rosemary, ᴄဃᴀyô was suddenly startled as a young lady, also a hero, grabbed his hand. Feeling jealous, she told him how weird it was to be the only one not holding on to someone. ᴄဃᴀyô looked at her and realized it was Saran, the mascot of Unit 6. Seeing her left him shocked. Eventually, they arrived at the headquarters, and ᴄဃᴇʀyy was amazed by the sight of the massive and beautiful mansion. While admiring the headquarters, ᴄဃᴇʀyy's gaze shifted to Lilia. As she bent over, ᴄဃᴇʀyy couldn't help but try to peek under her skirt. Lilia noticed this and teasingly asked if he wanted to see more. Caught off guard, ᴄဃᴀyy blushed furiously, trying to cover up his actions by saying he wanted to see the rest of the headquarters. His embarrassment only grew as blood dripped from his nose, causing Lilia to laugh and remark on how honest he was. Uriel, annoyed by their exchange, confronted Lilia, but Lilia brushed it off, saying she was just joking with ᴄဃᴀyy. ᴄဃᴀyy, however, was genuinely amazed and happy. The thought of potentially joining the heroes and living under the same roof as these beautiful women thrilled him. Meanwhile, Saran couldn't help but look at ᴄဃᴀyy and think he was a little weird. In the leader's room, the heroes, including ᴄဃᴀyy, gathered together. Rosemary, the leader, sat calmly, though she was a bit surprised by the presence of ᴄဃᴀyy, a male hero who appears when humanity faces a crisis. She questioned him about his ability to summon a holy sword from female heroes. ᴄဃᴀyy admitted that he didn't fully understand his ability himself. Rosemary, however, acknowledged his accomplishment in defeating the Hydra, recognizing it as no small feat. She then turned to Uriel and asked her opinion about ᴄဃᴀyy's ability during the battle with the Hydra. Uriel told Rosemary that ᴄဃᴀyy was practically invincible during the fight, saying he fought like a true hero and was incredibly cool. Lilia, sitting opposite Uriel, couldn't resist teasing her, asking if she had fallen for ᴄဃᴀyy. Uriel, feeling both embarrassed and annoyed, yelled back that she wasn't falling in love with ᴄဃᴀyy. It was just that she heard the villagers talking about how cool he was. ᴄဃᴀyy, misinterpreting her words, blushed and felt happy, thinking Uriel actually liked him and might even let him get away with some perverted behavior. Noticing his expression, Uriel immediately warned him not to get any wrong ideas. Saran, feeling left out, asked ᴄဃᴀyy how he was able to summon the holy sword. The question made ᴄဃᴀyy feel a bit embarrassed, beads of sweat forming on his face as he prepared to answer her. However, before he could explain, Uriel, also feeling embarrassed, interrupted them. She quickly said it was hard to explain and suggested to Saran that they discuss it later, her voice rising in nervousness. ᴄဃᴀyy noticed Uriel's flustered expression and wondered to himself if she was feeling embarrassed. Meanwhile, Uriel, still overwhelmed, thought to herself that she would need to properly explain what had happened later. Rosemary smiled softly, resting her hand on her chin. She told ᴄဃᴀyy it seemed that Uriel acknowledged him. She added that she had never seen a male hero before, but he appeared to possess a true hero's power. Curious, she then asked ᴄဃᴀyy what he wanted. With determination gleaming in his eyes, ᴄဃᴀyy yelled out that he wanted to become a hero. Rosemary, still smiling, closed her eyes and delivered a bombshell question. Why? Her calm, yet piercing question caught ᴄဃᴀyy off guard, making him freeze for a moment. As he tried to think of a response, his thoughts wandered. Part of him wanted to admit that he dreamed of doing perverted things with the female heroes, but he knew that would be unacceptable to say. Struggling for words, she reminded him of the weight of being a hero, explaining that heroes risk their lives every day to protect people, and that is why they fight so hard. At that moment, ᴄဃᴀyy recalls something Uriel had once told him, that she became a hero because she wanted to protect others. Her words echoed in his mind, pushing him to find a deeper reason within himself for wanting to take on the mantle of a hero. Still struggling to find a reason to fight, Saran sensed a dark aura approaching the headquarters. Alarmed, she informed the group. Rosemary immediately stood up from her chair, her expression turning serious, and went outside to investigate. Once outside, she saw a horde of demons advancing toward the headquarters. ᴄဃᴀyy, following behind, freaked out in fear at the sight. Rosemary calmly assessed the situation and remarked that the demons seemed to be under someone's control. Scared ᴄğᴇʀyê, still processing the scene, nervously asked who could be controlling them. Rosemary explained that with such a large number of demons, it had to be the Demon King. Hearing this, ᴄğᴇʀyê panicked even more, his fear growing with each passing second. Trying to steady himself, ᴄğᴇʀyê hesitantly asked if he should join the fight. Rosemary firmly told him no, explaining that he wasn't officially part of the Guardians of Heroes yet, and with his current weak resolve, joining the battle could put his life at risk. She then turned to ᴜᴜᴱᴜ, telling her she couldn't fight either because she wasn't fully healed. Rosemary instructed both ᴄğᴇʀyê and ᴜᴜᴱᴜ to stay back and let the other heroes handle the demons. As Rosemary and the rest dashed into battle, ᴜᴜᴜ remained playful as always. Noticing the demons' ferocious energy as they rushed to attack, ᴄğᴇʀyê panicked and yelled to warn ᴜᴜᴜ about the demons approaching her. However, ᴜᴜᴜ, calm and composed, reassured ᴄğᴇʀyê to relax and simply watch. She explained that while many believed ᴜᴜᴜ's hero power was wind, that wasn't the case. At that moment, ᴜᴜᴜ demonstrated her true ability. With one powerful move, she activated her hero power, Kitty's Swing, obliterating the demon charging at her in a single strike. Blushing slightly, she smiled and playfully announced that her ability was actually called Snowstorm. Clearly enjoying herself, ᴜᴜᴜ continued fighting the demons with a carefree attitude. She turned back toward ᴄğᴇʀyê and ᴜᴜᴱᴜ, calling out to them with a grin, asking if they were watching her in action. Saran unleashed her hero power, summoning her hollow phantom doll, which allowed her to create multiple clones of herself to attack the demons. ᴄğᴇʀyê's face lit up with smiles and excitement, marveling at how cool Saran's abilities were. Calm and composed as always, ᴜᴜᴜ warned ᴄğᴇʀyê not to underestimate Saran, reminding him that if he ever joined the team, the small girl he thought was cool would actually be his superior. Acknowledging Saran's exceptional skills, ᴜᴜᴜ explained to ᴄğᴇʀyê that despite her size, Saran was a prodigy who quickly rose to the rank of vice squad leader. ᴄğᴇʀyê was stunned by this revelation. Suddenly, demons ambushed ᴜᴜᴜ and ᴄğᴇʀyê from behind, making ᴄğᴇʀyê panic. With lightning-fast reflexes, Rosemary appeared, slicing the demons apart with her sword. She smiled and blushed slightly, asking ᴄğᴇʀyê and ᴜᴜᴜ if they were okay. Astonished that Rosemary had defeated the demons without using her hero power, Rosemary looked back and noticed that the number of demons was increasing rapidly. ᴜᴜᴜ, still playful, turned to ᴄğᴇʀyê and asked why he didn't use her to summon the Holy Sword. She asked this casually, unaware of the consequences of such an action. Rosemary immediately tried to intervene, explaining that ᴄğᴇʀyê wasn't yet part of the Guardians of Heroes and therefore shouldn't attempt such a thing. However, ᴜᴜᴜ persisted, insisting that ᴄğᴇʀyê try it. Teasing Rosemary, she added that she, too, was curious to see ᴄğᴇʀyê's power in action. Turning her attention back to ᴄğᴇʀyê, ᴜᴜᴜ asked, with a lighthearted and mischievous tone, how the Holy Sword was supposed to be summoned. When ᴜᴜᴜ said this, ᴜᴜᴜ shook her head, feeling pity for ᴜᴜᴜ as she realized that ᴜᴜᴜ didn't understand the consequences of her suggestion. ᴄğᴇʀyê hesitated for a moment before explaining, somewhat nervously, that for him to summon the Holy Sword, there was an unusual requirement. The individual helping him must reach a certain state of intense emotion. This revelation left everyone shocked and speechless. He explained that the Holy Sword is formed from the essence of a female hero. He told them he needed to stimulate the soul, and when the female hero reached her peak, the sword would be released. Rosemary, stunned, turned to ᴜᴜᴜ and asked if what ᴄğᴇʀyê said was true. ᴜᴜᴜ, looking shy, nervous, and embarrassed, confirmed it without saying a word. Realizing it was true, Rosemary then turned to ᴜᴜᴜ and asked what she planned to do next. Hearing ᴄğᴇʀyê's explanation left ᴜᴜᴜ shocked and deeply embarrassed. The realization that she had unknowingly volunteered for something so extraordinarily delightful made sweat bead on her face, and she struggled to find words. As Cheryo attempted to speak, Lilia, blushing furiously and unable to meet anyone's eyes, nervously told him to give her a moment to decide. While the group's attention was diverted, a sudden demon attack caught them off guard. Rosemary and Saran quickly stepped in, blocking the demons just in time. However, they noticed something strange. The demons had started mimicking the heroes' movements, making their attacks more unpredictable. Feeling flustered but determined, Lilia finally yelled out to Cheryo, urging him to begin the ritual to summon the holy sword. Cheryo immediately created a barrier around them. As the barrier activated, Lilia's body began to react with heightened sensitivity, a sensation that left her breathless and even more embarrassed. Cheryo calmly explained that the barrier was designed to amplify her sensitivity to help complete the ritual faster. He reassured her that the barrier also made them invisible to others, ensuring their privacy during the process. Lilia looked gloomy as she pieced together Cheryo's true motives for wanting to be a hero, his desire to do perverted things with the female heroes. She couldn't help but laugh as she confronted him about it, catching Cheryo off guard. Embarrassed, he stumbled over his words while Lilia teased him further, noting that he seemed to be enjoying the current moment a bit too much. As the heightened sensations from the barrier intensified, Lilia commented sarcastically that she'd never met anyone who wanted to fight for such a ridiculous reason. Cheryo, feeling a bit disheartened, admitted that his reason probably wasn't good enough to make him a true hero. But to his surprise, Lilia reassured him. She told him that while his reason might seem silly, the fact that he was willing to risk his life for it was, in its own way, impressive. The intensity of the sensations overwhelmed Lilia, and she found herself giving in to the process. Reluctantly but determined to help summon the holy sword, she braced herself, allowing the ritual to proceed. As the ritual to summon the holy sword proceeded, a radiant light burst forth from Lilia's chest. Cheryo reached out and began to pull the glowing essence. The intense energy shattered the barrier around them, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. The girls turned around, startled by the sudden burst of light and the shattered barrier. Amid the chaos, a demon took advantage of the distraction, inhaling deeply before unleashing a massive fireball, justice, from its mouth. The flaming projectile hurtled toward Cheryo and Lilia with terrifying speed. Uriel, noticing the incoming attack, shouted desperately, telling them to watch out for the fireball. The warning echoed, but before the blazing attack could reach them, Cheryo reacted instinctively. With a firm grip on the holy sword Hailstorm Panther, he swung the sword with all his might, its power slicing cleanly through the fireball and dissipating the flames into harmless sparks. Lilia was stunned as the brilliant holy sword materialized in Cheryo's grasp. His appearance had transformed. His hair was now as white as snow, and a glowing mark has appeared on his right eye, giving him an otherworldly resemblance. As the horde of demons closed in, Cheryo gripped the holy sword tightly and unleashed a devastating tornado of hail. Amid the chaos, he revealed his true motivation for becoming a hero, a desire to engage in questionable antics with female heroes, which, according to him, allowed him to summon holy swords. His bold admission left everyone in stunned silence as he sliced the demons attacking him. Rosemary sighed deeply as she processed his questionable motives. Uriel, maintaining her calm demeanor, acknowledged that while his reasons might be flawed, his strength and determination were undeniable. Cheryo, undeterred by their reactions, slid his sword into an icy sheath that formed on his back. With a fierce determination, he dashed toward the remaining demons, striking them down effortlessly. His movements were swift and powerful, proving that despite his unorthodox motives, Cheryo had the potential to stand as a hero. As Cheryo defeated the last demon, An unknown figure loomed in the distance, its presence hidden in the shadows but clearly observing him closely. The aura around this figure hinted that it was the one controlling the demons. Meanwhile, the girls hurried to Cherry-O, checking to ensure he was unharmed. Rosemary commented on how she had no idea he was such a pervert, but acknowledged that at least he had a reason to fight. She then officially welcomed him to the Hero 6 unit, recognizing that he had earned his place. Cherry-O's face brightened with pure joy. He bowed deeply, his emotions written all over his face. Uriel then reassured him that, in his current state, he shouldn't have any trouble passing the exam. This left him panicking as he wondered what exam Uriel was talking about. Hearing about the Guardian Hero's entrance exam made Cherry-O freak out. Exam? He panicked, realizing that failing it would mean not joining the team and, most importantly, missing out on the chance to do some kinky stuff with the ladies. The thought alone was enough to crush his spirit. Uriel was baffled by Cherry-O's remark about doing perverted stuff with ladies, as it made it seem like all the girls were as perverse as him. Rosemary apologized to Cherry-O, but insisted that, regardless of his strength or might, he had to take the test if he truly wished to become a part of the Guardian Heroes. She explained to him that the exam is held every March, but right now it is late April, meaning he must wait 1 year. Hearing this, Cherry-O freaked out, wondering if he had to wait until next year to take the exam. Did he have to wait until then to officially become a hero? But Rosemary assured him there was no problem with taking the exam early, and she would try to convince the higher-ups, as he was a special case. Days later, as the exam was about to take place in a large gladiator arena, Cherry-O was shocked to see so many people there to watch him take the exam. ᴄՂᴇʀᴜ, a young and beautiful moderator, as well a member from the 7th Unit Guardian Heroes, greeted the crowd with a lot of smiles and enthusiasm. She announced to the audience that Cherry-O was the examinee recommended by Rosemary and her teammates from the 6 units. To further excite everyone, she mentioned that the examinee was a boy. Trying to mock Cherry-O, she asked the audience if he had hero power, which made everyone curious, and they all shouted in response. Cherry-O wasn't interested in what ᴄՂᴇʀyᴜ was saying. His eyes were fixated on the crowd. Saran noticed his expression and told him that the exam wasn't made public. She explained that the audience in the arena was all hero-related. Cherry-O looked around and realized that everyone in the arena was a lady. This surprised him, and he couldn't help but think some nasty thoughts, wondering if that was why the arena smelled so good. Noticing his inappropriate expression, Lilia asked if he was actually listening. ᴄඝᴜ then introduced the 2 beautiful leaders of the Guardian Heroes as witnesses for the exam, which made the crowd erupt in excitement, thrilled by how pretty and beautiful the leaders were. Cherry-O was somewhat surprised to realize that the exam seemed more like a show than an actual test. Rosemary told him that this often happens when the 7th unit is in charge of any events. ᴄඝᴜ, the moderator, explained how the exam would proceed. She clarified that it would be a practical exam, and if Cherry-O could defeat the 5 magic golems in the arena ring within 15 minutes, he would pass. She also mentioned that, considering his reported hero power, one other hero would accompany him into the arena as an assistant. However, the assistant would be prohibited from interfering with the battle and could not leave the designated area. This sparked curiosity and confusion among the audience, as she tells Cherry-O and his assistant to be ready. Rosemary then selected Uriel as the assistant, to which Uriel boasted about how effective her holy sword would be against the golems. Lilia, feeling jealous, remarked that her own holy sword was also strong. This led to an argument between the 2 lovers. Uriel told Lilia that she hadn't seen her holy sword in action, while Lilia responded that her holy sword could cut through anything. Rosemary had to intervene, telling them to stop the argument. Minutes later, as the match was about to start, Cherry-O left for the exam. The girls wished him good luck. As Cherry-O and Uriel were about to leave, Lilia called out to Uriel, telling her that, in case they got into trouble, she had a secret plan. Trying to tease Uriel, Lilia asked if she was interested in hearing her secret plan, which piqued Uriel's curiosity. As they entered the fighting arena, ᴄဃᴇʀyy began to wonder if he would have to touch Uriel again to summon the Holy Sword. Uriel, feeling embarrassed, was also concerned about whether ᴄဃᴇʀyy would need to touch her to summon it. However, she was sure that if the Holy Sword could be summoned, ᴄဃᴇʀyy would have to use the barrier again, to which no one can see through it. As the exam began, Uriel told ᴄဃᴇʀyy to summon the Holy Sword, but unfortunately, ᴄဃᴀyy started running for his life like a scared child when he saw the powerful golems. This puzzled the crowd, and they began to wonder if ᴄဃᴀyy had a plan to attack. ᴄဃᴀyy was also shocked to see himself running, wondering what he was trying to do. No matter how hard he tried to reach Uriel, his body seemed to move away from her. It felt as though they were like the same poles of a magnet. Uriel called out to ᴄဃᴀyy, asking what was going on and urging him to come to her. ᴄဃᴀyy, questioning himself if he was losing his mind, couldn't understand what was happening. Meanwhile, with an evil smile on the moderator's face, Kana asked the crowd what ᴄဃᴀyy was doing or what he might be planning, which left everyone confused. Out of nowhere, a golem appeared in front of ᴄဃᴀyy and delivered a massive smackdown, leaving the girls in the crowd terrified. Lilia shouted in fear, asking if ᴄဃᴀyy was okay. The golem then landed a powerful uppercut, sending ᴄဃᴀyy reeling in pain. As he struggled, ᴄဃᴀyy started to reflect on how he always overwhelmed his opponents with the Holy Sword up until now. He felt an intense pain he had never experienced before, realizing just how brutal fighting could be. Everyone watching the fight felt disappointed. They started wondering if ᴄဃᴀyy was really weak or if he even had any hero power at all. While the crowd grew curious and upset, ᴄğᴜᴜ, the leader of the 7th unit, seemed slightly impressed as she watched. ᴄဃᴀyy struggled to get up, feeling pain all over his body, wondering if he could really become a hero. Uriel tried to encourage him, telling him to pull himself together and come to her. She reminded him how strong and brave he was and urged him to show the crowd the real ᴄဃᴜyy in action. But he was too weak to do anything. Suddenly, Uriel decided to take off her cloak as she walked toward ᴄဃᴀyy, feeling embarrassed. She told him that if he passed the exam, they could take a bath together. Motivated by her words, the perverted and weakened ᴄဃᴀyy found the strength to stand and ran toward Uriel with determination. Everyone was shocked to see ᴄဃᴀyy run towards the girl. Meanwhile, the golem chased after him, trying to land another powerful punch. ᴄဃᴀyy quickly activated his holy zone barrier just in time. Uriel smiled at him, teasing that he truly was a pervert. As the golems relentlessly punched the barrier, the crowd watched in confusion, wondering if the barrier was ᴄဃᴀyy's holy power and whether he intended to stay inside it. Suddenly, ᴄဃᴀyy stepped out of the barrier, transformed into his Tristan Leoness form, wielding the holy sword Volp Flame Eagles. The crowd was utterly shocked, including ᴄğᴜᴜ, the leader of the 7th unit. Everyone questioned what could have happened inside the barrier as ᴄဃᴀyy leaped out. What could have happened inside the barrier, giving ᴄဃᴀyy such motivation? Let's roll back to uncover the events. Inside the barrier, Uriel questioned ᴄဃᴀyy about what happened the last time he summoned the Holy Sword using Lilia. With no hesitation, ᴄဃᴀyy tells her about the actions he had taken that would make any man raise a strong, hard sword. Hearing that, Uriel is a little embarrassed but is ready to accept his sword. Jealousy obvious on her face, the girl moves closer and suddenly kissed ᴄဃᴀyy, catching him completely off guard. Shocked, ᴄဃᴀyy tried to call Uriel's name, but she shyly explained that she wanted to kiss him too, admitting that it might have been her first kiss. She then teasingly asked about the situation with Lilia, suggesting they figure that out later. As she kissed ᴄဃᴀyy again, Uriel asked him about the best way to summon the Holy Sword. ᴄဃᴀyy noticed that Uriel seemed much more proactive than before, and he couldn't help but wonder why. Meanwhile, Uriel reflected on how she had felt watching Cheryo summon Lilia's holy sword, admiring his cheerfulness in normal moments and his focus during serious situations. Moments later, as the holy sword began to manifest from her chest, Uriel let out a scream of surprise, realizing the intensity of the moment had overwhelmed her. As Cheryo jumped out of the barrier, everyone was shocked by his new appearance and the sword he carried. Despite this, the crowd still thought he was weak because of how he struggled earlier. To their surprise, Cheryo destroyed the golem with one strike, cutting it cleanly in half. The crowd was left speechless, their mouths wide open in amazement at what they had just witnessed. The crowd was amazed to see how powerful Cheryo had become, destroying 4 golems in mere seconds. However, the moderator was irritated, recalling how close he had been to losing just moments ago. After defeating the 4 golems, only the level 5 golem remained. Cheryo attacked it with a power slash, but it wasn't enough to destroy the toughest obstacle in the exam, a golem so challenging it caused many applicants to fail each year. The level 5 golem retaliated, attempting a massive smackdown but missed. The moderator, feeling vindicated, eagerly announced that Cheryo had finally met his match. This prompted Lilia to ask Rosemary why Cheryo wasn't using the Holy Sword's power beam. Rosemary explained that while the beam was incredibly strong, the arena was packed with people, and firing it could endanger the crowd. As Cheryo continued battling the golem, Uriel called out to him, unintentionally drawing the golem's attention. The creature charged toward her, causing the crowd to gasp in fear. But in a flash, Cheryo sped to her side, using the Holy Sword to block the golem's attack. Smiling, Cheryo reassured Uriel that he would protect her and fulfill his desires. With a surge of determination, he launched the golem into the air with his sword and followed up with a powerful Holy Sword wave, blasting it with a massive beam. The crowd erupted in shock and awe as the moderator, reluctantly and angrily, declared Cheryo the winner, officially passing the exam.